Welcome to First Garden, New Gardener. I'm Joy Barrett. Well, it's all about maximizing the space that you have available. Some people may have very large gardens, and others of you may just have containers or a very small raised bed garden. Either way, we want to maximize the space that we have available. So we're going to talk about intercropping or planting inside of plants. We did a quick tip on this a few weeks ago. We want to incorporate fast-growing crops in with slow-growing crops, and I'll explain that. Right here is our Brussels sprout bed. Looks very beautiful, really good. Brussels sprouts take quite a long time to germinate, or takes quite a long time for them to reach maturity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my garden stamp, and in the middle here I'm going to go ahead and plant some spinach, some Bloomsdale long-standing spinach. Spinach takes between 40 and 50 days to reach maturity, and I can intercrop the spinach in the center of the Brussels sprouts, and the spinach will get mature. We can harvest the spinach and it will go to bolt, and the Brussels sprouts will still have time to reach maturity, so we can get basically two crops in one location, much like we will with the kale and the peas next door here in the raised berm. We've got peas coming up, and then we've brought in some kale seedlings that we'd started. So when the peas reach maturity, we still have kale, and we're using two spots. And we'll take another look at how we can intercrop some radishes up on the high end of the garden once I get this planted. So it's real simple. Whether you have a garden stamp or not, you can just take, and I'll start on this end here. We're just going to mark the ground. Spinach comes in a, let's see here, 4 per square foot. So we'll go one there, one there, one there, one there. And then I'm just going to go ahead and plant all the way down the row here, and I should be able to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 28 spinach plants in an area that would lay dormant because of what is already in the bed. So I'm going to go ahead and get these planted, and then we'll head up to the high end of the garden, and I'll show you another technique of maximizing space with potatoes. Now before we get to the potatoes, let's take a look at another portion here of where our pole beans will soon be. We're going to string strings on both sides of this raised berm here. Then I was thinking, we've got a lot of wasted space. What can we put in here? Well, we incorporated a lot of brassicas, Brussels sprouts, red cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower in this furrow, or in this row here. So as the beans begin to grow up, these will, in the most part, will be pretty close to reaching maturity. So we've maximized the center portion of the raised berm, in addition to maximizing the outer portions as the beans crawl up in our triangular string trellis that we will soon create. Now let's take a look at what we can do with planting between potatoes. All right, so we're in our potato bed. Now we've got 2 different raised berms of potatoes, and we can maximize the space between the potato hills. We've hilled the potatoes up already, so whenever they emerge, they'll be already hilled. So we can maximize the valleys here between the potatoes by planting radishes. Radishes is one of the quickest growing vegetables outside of sprouts that you would do in your kitchen. They take between 21 and 33 days, and they'll be an excellent addition to the potatoes here, because in a month we'll be able to harvest them, get a crop of radishes, assuming the weather doesn't turn extremely hot and cause these to bolt. And if that's the case, we'll have a whole bunch more radish seeds. So it's a win-win either way. So you'll want to plant these. I've got my triangular hoe here, my pointed hoe. If you don't have a pointed hoe, you can just take the edge of your trowel or your regular garden hoe and make a furrow. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take and drop one about every 3 inches, just to be safe, that we have plenty of room for the radish to sprout and germinate. Now these will germinate with the adequate amount of moisture in the soil in about 5 to 8 days. So it's another way of maximizing space you may have already dedicated to another vegetable, that you can bring in a secondary vegetable and use the space that is between those vegetables. So intercropping, it might be something you want to consider to increase the amount of vegetables that you're growing in your garden, whether large or small. I'm Joy Barrett, and this has been First Garden, New Gardener.
For more information, please visit thewwisconsinvegetablegardener.com.